souls, it's Tan back here again today on this Astrology, Human Design and Gene Keys channel. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at Human Design Gate 33, Gene Key 33, and that is in correspondence with the Zodiac Degrees of the sign of Leo from 737 degrees to 1315 degrees of Leo. And the associated Vision Key Birth Spirit for this archetype is the Buzzard. Okay, so I've made an introduction video to this series, so I highly recommend that you check out that video first. I'll post a link up above in the description box below so you can kind of get a comprehensive understanding of how I'm approaching this series with regards to the birds and combining astrology, human design, and gene keys together. So let's get started by looking at the overview of this archetype, which moves from the shadow frequency of forgetting, the mire of the Maya, to the gift of mindfulness, the death of the ego, to the city of revelation, divine closure. It's so dramatic, so Leo, isn't it? And in the 54 hexagrams of the I-CHING, this hexagram is heaven over mountain, retreat, attaining the insight of heaven through the stillness of body and mind, aka mindfulness. In the 64 codon ring, this particular archetype is located in the ring of trials. It's associated with the amino acid that has to do with the terminator or the stop codon in the DNA. The programming partner of this archetype is Human Design and Gene Key Gate 19, and that is in correspondence with the Zodiac of Aquarius from 737 degrees to 1315 degrees of Aquarius, and I just recently made a video on that a few weeks ago, so you can also check that out to see the balancing energy to this archetype. That's what the programming partner is all about. In human design, this particular gate is located in the throat chakra or throat center. It's part of channel 1333, which connects the throat to the G center, forming a channel called the channel of the prodigal or the channel of evaluation. So let's start looking at this archetype by, of course, like all the other videos in this series, looking at the bird associated with it, which is the buzzard. Now, I didn't find a lot of information on the buzzard itself, so I don't feel like I'm gonna be able to talk a lot about this bird, but with regards to what I have discovered about this bird is that the buzzard that I feel the Gene Keys is talking about here is the one that is part of a hawk bird in the raptor family. So it's a type of hawk in the raptor bird family. And buzzards are, if you observe them, you can see them a lot. And I see them a lot here in the Netherlands where I'm living right now, especially on like poles on the street and on top of the traffic signs along the roads. And they're very still. They're kind of just sitting there on their poles. And buzzards have been known to be able to sit very still, perched there in one place for half of the day, just doing nothing. But you know what they're actually doing is they're also kind of watching for prey, and they're known to be a bit of a lazier hunters, that they mainly would adopt and would choose to eat smaller animals, sometimes even carrion or just insects that are easier to catch. If you observe the buzzard, they have a little bit of an arrogance about them, a bit of like they're not shy if you come close to one, but they wouldn't do anything either. They would kind of watch you with their very penetrating gaze. Okay, so that's kind of the character of the buzzard that I've managed to find out for this video. But so if you have this archetype, some of your traits might be that there may be a bit of a laziness about your energy, or like if we look at the gift, the life key animal of it, which is a sloth, right? The sloth is just enjoying its food, just lying there, moving very slowly. It's just enjoying life. So it's kind of the traits here. You might have a bit of an indulgence for pleasures and the good life. There may be something about you that you maybe have a bit of a stockier body and a build, and there's a need to tend to want to retreat and ponder life and evaluate the things that have happened to you in your life. There may be a bit of an arrogance coming with this archetype in a sense that you want to be somebody at the core of your being who is not forgotten. You want to be somebody who can be remembered by other people, is known and recognized by others in the world, especially if you're not here anymore. You want to leave a legacy in one way or another. So let's look at the shadow of this archetype first of all, which is called forgetting. So in the gene keys, forgetting that's associated with this archetype comes from what is called a sanskara, which leads to karma. So this archetype is very karmic in its nature. And there are going to be certain memories that you hold deep within you with regards to your earlier childhood life, like very, very early. Or even if you believe in a past life, then there's memories inside of your body that you hold with regards to even a past life that condition, you can say at the shadow frequency, condition your present and your future behavior in this life. So your memories, as much as they make up who you are, they're also not the totality of who you are. And so the ego with the Leo archetype, the sun ruling Leo, there's a lot of ego tied to this archetype, is rooted in the memories and being stuck, we can say, conditioned or stuck to your own memories. And because you take too much pride, we can say, in the things of your past and not wanting to let that go, we can say that. So an example of how your past memories, things that you may or may not even remember, something of maybe that may impact your present or future situation. A very common one that I've noticed with this archetype is a mother, for example, who had a miscarriage. And then after the miscarriage, the mother had the 33. Now the 33 lives their life feeling like they're not enough, and they're not sure why they're feeling not enough. And looking at the programming partner of the 33, which is the 19, the shadow of the 19 being codependence, can lead the 33 into various types of codependent relationships where they're in a relationship and they feel not enough in that relationship, so they overcompensate by sacrificing a lot of things and enabling somebody else's toxic behaviors, and that's codependency. And so the 33 gets into this codependent relationship, and because they can't remember, they don't know the root of their feelings of being not enough. And so there's a process in which the 33 has to go through with regards to bringing up lost memories, things that they have forgotten, in order to understand certain relationship patterns and relational themes that kills their ego, we can say, or that kind of makes them become more aware of the ego. So the path of purification is always something that this archetype is going to have to go through at some point in their life. So retreat can also be used at a shadow frequency of the 33 as well. We can also interpret retreat as an action in which you retreat from the suffering of yourself, and yet you still suffer. So you're not looking into your suffering. You're not mindful of it, you're not looking at it, you're not wanting to address it, and then you continue to suffer. You continue to go through reincarnations, in which you continue to carry the sufferings of past lives. And you remain in this karmic loop of reincarnation in which you don't get to that stage of revelation or enlightenment, which is the ending of reincarnation. Retreat can also be a shadow in a sense that you, with this archetype, feel like you can do things alone. You don't need other people. You gotta go in all by yourself, and you want to be recognized for the things that you do, for your own individual efforts, not being connected to other people, not really wanting to take help. And what it ends up doing, that it can make you with this archetype feel lonely, very alone, to the point of loneliness, unconnected to life, unconnected to others. And if we look at the opposite again of this archetype, which is Gene Key and Human Design Gate 19, that archetype is feeling connected to everything. That's Aquarius. It's very sensitive to even the flower on the grass next to me right now. You begin to become hidden from the world when you try to do things alone and you don't feel that connection and you want the recognition all by yourself, and you really now become forgotten. People really don't know you, don't remember you, and you are the one that has enabled this to happen because of your ego. You may be in friendships or relationships where you feel you're unable to speak. This is in the throat, this gate is in the throat, so you're unable to talk about your past experiences. You feel unable to share something more personal and intimate about yourself. You can appear closed off, even to a lover. The more reactive shadow of this archetype can manifest as someone who can be a bit invasive. So instead of closing themselves off, these can be like people, you can be, especially when you're in a state of forgetting. So when you're not very mindful, like think about, maybe drugs or alcohol that kind of lowers your inhibitions and you're less conscious of what you're doing. You can be wanting to get negative attention in that state and invading other people's privacy to get the negative attention, even to get attention, to be remembered, even if it's for negative things, especially for people that you think are ignoring you. So think about an example. It's like, let's say somebody who's been drinking and they go with their friends and then they're in a state now of the shadow of this and the forgetting and the no mindfulness, and they start hugging their friends 10 times, 20 times that night. Oh, you're the best friend ever, you're so great, you're such an amazing friend. And that friend's feeling like, or an acquaintance, something's off with this person. I think I'm gonna keep my distance from them. And then you really become forgotten because some of your shadows are coming out and you want the attention, but it's coming out in a not very positive way. Sometimes, with regards to people that need your help, you can use this opportunity as a way of helping them, but not in a soft or gentle way, in a more hurtful way, saying things that can really push people's buttons to make sure that that person's really going to remember you, but they end up forgetting you. Okay, so let's look at the gift of this archetype, which is called mindfulness. So mindfulness happens with this archetype when you are no longer overpowered by your fears and your traumas of your past. You may still, act in the present day in a way that, may be conditioned from the past. So you may still feel not enough in the present day, or you may get angry very easily in the present day because of the conditionings of your past. But now you are aware of what is happening. It's almost like when things like that happen, you're able to step outside of yourself with mindfulness and awareness and look at what's going on there. And just that sliver of awareness can really bring wisdom into any harder situations in life. You also begin to watch with awareness, like the buzzard, your relationship patterns of your past, and especially current present relationships that you have. You're brave enough to admit to yourself that after observing and evaluating your past relationships, oh, there was codependence there. Is there codependence in my current relationship? And if there is, that mindfulness, every step, everything that you do in the present moment with mindfulness is a step towards more and more wisdom and more towards doing the right thing. When we talk about this archetype and kind of killing the ego or diminishing the ego a little bit, we do see somebody at the gift of this who can say to themselves that, hey, I've caused some of my suffering in my past. The things that I did in my past, I was responsible for it. The more mindful you become, the more the more pain you begin to feel with regards to your past, because your ego is being killed off little by little. So a lot of people who have this archetype are going to be into purification processes like detoxification or ayahuasca, where you're really cleansing anything stuck from the past in your body out of your system, so that these kinds of purification techniques transforms the kinetic energies in your body within your own negative karma and enables you to have self-remembrance again. When you catch yourself in the middle of a heated argument, in the middle of a big fight, you will realize that you have forgotten your true nature. Mindfulness will help you realize that maybe it's a physical outlet on another person, or that hurtful word that you used on another person. That's not you. Mindfulness helps you to remember that you are a beautiful soul, and the things you do in the heat of the moment that's coming out of negative energy or the shadow frequency that are more aggressive or hurtful are a conditioning of your traumas, of your fears of the past. And that's not really you. So you say to yourself, oh, this is not me, but it's just my traumas playing out. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing this to this other person now. When you can objectively see your subjective emotions, what we have is a genius artist. A genius artist is somebody who observes their emotions, because only through that objective observation can you transform that into something beautiful, into creativity. If you're continuously looking at your emotions from emotions from a subjective place, all you end up doing is continuing to feel and maybe cry and maybe lash out and so on and so forth. When you objectively see your subjective thoughts, so your subjective opinions, you look at it from a more objective place, we have a genius philosopher, a genius scientist. So it's the process of stopping the identification with your emotions, your thoughts, not identifying with that. Do we really have genius? And that's why this archetype is called the channel of the prodigal as well, because it instills within it great ability for genius. You will be remembered and recognized for your genius, but you will be forgotten if you are in the shadow of forgetting, if you don't remember yourself. The world looks at the accomplishments that you've made and they see themselves through you, and you are remembered for that. Mindfulness also, the sun is shining on my face now, mindfulness also enables you to remember to see every moment in your life as something special, and therefore your life becomes something that is worth remembering, that people want to write a biography about, that you can write your own autobiography about, because you know how to instill soul, life, something to be remembered in every single small or big thing that you do in your life. Okay, so now let's look at the city of this archetype, which is called Revelation. With the city of Revelation, the secret of human existence becomes more revealed, is revealed to you. And you realize that you, after all of this ego work, you are nothing but the now. You are nothing but the present moment. You are somebody who can really just forget the past. You're somebody who can really just forget about that. But yet, you have with you the mindfulness of the present, and the things that's in the body and the mind and the emotions from the past, it's really purified, it's really cleansed. It's like you were reborn even. And you remember the now rather than the past. You may be somebody who doesn't speak a lot. You love the silence. You're okay with the silence. And you realize that the present moment is filled with silence and you don't have to always talk or speak. Whereas, at the shadow frequency, we can have somebody who doesn't talk or speak, but really wants to do it. But it's just feeling so isolated. Or we can have somebody that's just, can't stop being invasive because they can't stop talking. With the City of Revelation, if you have this archetype, you hold the secrets to certain eras and in the timeline of the progress of humanity and the society. So when people are with you, there's something about a particular era that they are living with you that is revealed into their consciousness. It's not really a situation about a certain era that's revealed, but it's more of like the consciousness of that era where the collective consciousness is progressing that becomes revealed to the people that are in your life at that era that they're in your life in. So think about, somebody like Barack Obama, who has his sun in gate 33, and Mahatma Gandhi, who has his North Node in gate 33, and Mother Teresa, who has her Venus in gate 33, and Nelson Mandela, who has his Saturn in gate 33, and my mom, who has her sun in gate 33. But we also have Donald Trump, who has his Pluto in gate 33. These are people that nobody ever forgets, right? We all remember these people because at the time that they were alive and with the things that they do, they were their presence holds the secrets, reveals the secrets of where our consciousness as a society is progressing. First, you're being in the drama. You're playing in the drama of life. You raise people's consciousness through the dramas of life. And people, like I said, want to write a biography about you. I want to write a biography about my mom. The 33rd city also reveals to us the individual and collective mythology of enlightenment. That enlightenment itself evolves. Even though the state of enlightenment is an absolute state, but yet within the Maya that we're living in, this matrix that we're living in, there's a storyline within it that's different for each era of humanity, and that the storyline of each era of humanity holds the secrets of enlightenment there. And there's two sparrows playing with each other in my garden. They're so cute. If you have this archetype, my last message for you is going to be to fall in love with yourself, fall in love with your story, fall in love with your life, and hold nothing back. You will arrive at the ending of your own personal story, and it will be very unique and worth remembering. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video, beautiful souls. If you have this archetype, comment below, let me know what your experiences have been. I do readings. You can check out information on my website, Astrology, Human Design, Gene Keys, Combined Readings. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. If you have already, thank you very much for coming along, beautiful souls. Sending so much love to all you guys out there. Bye!